Bonjour et bienvenue sur Sensation. Depuis plusieurs années, elles partagent notre quotidien, nous font douter, nous induisent en erreur. Les fake news sévissent partout. Pour en parler, je suis avec Andreas Greuel. Hello.
Hello, bonjour.
You are head of verification at the Bertelsmann Group, which owns RTL. So, what is head of verification? What is your role?
I'm the team leader of the verification team, which looks at user-generated content in the social media, for instance, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and co. And we are trying to take a look at the information and find out whether it's true or not. And we do a lot of research in the internet, in the social media. And yes, I'm the team leader, and so I'm the one who is responsible that all the items we use for RTL and Bertelsmann, that those are true, and that we don't send video material or photo material that is not true or is old or has wrong claims in it.
How long has fake news been around?
Well, basically, as long as the humans live, there has always been fake news and always been lies. 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago. But the difference for today is that we have social media and the media itself, that it can spread faster than it could back in the old days. Like in the old days, in the 1920s or 1930s, you only had radio or newspaper and maybe TV. And it was very hard to get information out into the free world. Today, everybody who has an iPhone or Samsung or a telephone has the opportunity to not only consume information, but also get information out in the world. And so it has become easier to make wrong claims, to disinform people. And this is why we are around and why we have to do our job.
And who created them, this fake news? For what purpose?
And basically everybody can do it. The question is, why are they doing it? And the purpose, agenda, their opinion to be out there, and they want to underestimate other opinions. Maybe they want to do some of the people just want to make money, so they disinform other people and claim that, I don't know, that there's something wrong in the world out there, that Bill Gates is putting chips into all of us, and then they make T-shirts out of it. They have a website, they make money through advertisement, and so in the end, they earn a lot of money. So money is always a purpose for fake news. And then you have people who just want to have attention. They just do it for the clicks, for the likes, and for the sharing, and they just want to see the world burn or want to maybe make the world not a better place and disinform people just for the fun of it.
You have set up a task force within your company. What is your modus operandi for fight against fake news?
So at the beginning, we had just our team in Cologne in West Germany, and then we taught other people how to work in this field of disinformation. And then we found out, well, we have our partner stations in Belgium, Netherlands, France, etc. And we thought, well, we let them know, and then maybe we can work together, because the social media in Germany is a bit different than in France, or is a bit different than in the Netherlands. So we thought, or everybody who wants to check on an item can send an email, or we use Slack as well. Well, here's some information. Can you please check on it and tell me if it's true or not? And then we work on it, we do some research, and then we get back to the people and say, well, this picture shows this and that, or this video claims this and that, and it's true or it's not true. So we basically take a look at everything that is being brought to us and try to find out what happened, and then we give the information to our editors, and they can then use them.
As a user, how do I know if what I am reading is not a fake news?
Well, first of all, you have to think and be how you say curious. Ask yourself, is this too good to be true? Think about how could things like that really happen. Take a look at who is writing something or who is talking to me. Is this a real person? Is this maybe AI generated? Is this a source that I can trust? Is this a very big newspaper or a big TV or radio station? Or is it just somebody from a village at the end of the street? Have the claims that are being made been public? Can I maybe research them at another website? Is there maybe somebody I can ask who is an expert and do some more research on this? And so basically, the main thing is to not only consume information, but ask yourself, can this really be true? And where did this information come from? How did it generate? And then ask yourself, is the public speaking about it or not? Do other stations speak about it or not? And whether so, things might be true. But yeah, you have to do your research. You have to think for yourself. That's very important.
Let's talk about history now, and more specifically your family's history. Your grandfather, also called Andreas Greuel, was a soldier of Nazi Germany during the Second World War. He was the victim of a war crime called the German gunfire case at Coussay-les-Bois. But first, tell us about your grandfather, about his involvement in this war. What was his rank? What was his mission? Was he a volunteer?
So my grandfather, he was a son of a farmer and a shoemaker. So he didn't really have that much money. And after school, he was very good at school, but he couldn't afford to go to the university. So he had to work for his parents on the land. So he did farming and landscaping, I think until 1938. When the war almost started. So he was working at his parents' house, and he wasn't in the military or anything like that. And at age 41, which is pretty old, he had to go to the military because he was forced to, and then he was working as a guard. And then when the war started, they sent him to I think in France you call it the Siegfried Line. In Germany we call it the West Wall, which is on the western border of Germany. And he was just building the kind of fortress there. So he was a Oberfeldwebel, that was his rank. But he was building a fortress at the Siegfried Line back in the days.
On August 24th, he was captured in Vienna, the region Vienna. What happens next?
We can only say by the stuff that has been brought to us from witnesses, but they were on the uncontrolled or unsystematic fallback. So they were going back to Germany to flee because of the Allies landing in the Normandy. They have been captured at some point near Montmorillon, and then been brought to a farming house or whatever. Apparently from some kind of resistance or maquis from the FFI, Force Française Intérieure. They've been captured, and at some point they went to the place which you now call the Place de 20 Juin in Coussay-les-Bois, and then they had been shot at a wall, and then he died, apparently.
For more than 40 years, the story has remained silent. It was your father, Rodolphe Greuel, a journalist, who brought the affair to light in 1987. How did he go about it?
So my dad was 1.5 years old when his dad died in Coussay-les-Bois. And it took him a lot of years until his mom told him about what happened. But he really didn't know what really happened. He just knew that his dad died in France, in Coussay-les-Bois. But when I was born in 1985, my dad said, well, I want to give my son the name of my father. And then at some point he said, well, my son will ask me one day, why is my name Andreas? And then he has to tell me. So it was then when he began his research, and he wanted to know who was my father and how did he die. And started looking into papers, into he had, which wasn't that much. And he went to Coussay-les-Bois. He was texting with other journalists in that time. Because he wanted to know how his father died, because he had basically never a father. He never met him. That was when it all started. And his idea was to find out what happened, but he didn't know what to expect. So he didn't know how this all ended up when he started investigating, because he thought, well, he died at some point and that's it. And he goes back and can tell me. But then he found out that it didn't happen as he thought it had happened. So, and then he started investigating with other journalists, and that was how it went down.
In 2009, your father wanted a memorial still to be erected at Coussay-les-Bois. Although the town council agreed, but the inhabitants protested and had the decision overturned. What were your reactions to you and your father?
My father was a bit disappointed, but he was a very realistic guy. The main thing is he has never felt any sort of hate or anything else. The idea of him was to let the young people know what happened and nothing more. It wasn't emotional. He had never hate against the French or the FFI or Marquise or anybody. So he just wanted to know what happened. That was all he wanted to. And he just thought of, de Gaulle and Adenauer and Mitterrand and Kohl and the German-French friendship, and that stuff like the war may not happen again, because it's just not good for everybody, because people die, daddies die, people lose their homes, lose their family, lose their father, just like my daddy did. Always about just remembering that war is just horrible, and that war, and he always felt that, there's this Place du 20 Juin, and he always felt like there's a memorial from the FFI for 3 or 4 French men who had been murdered by the SS. And he was like, yeah, but a lot of other people did die as well. He always knew that it is hard to understand that. And he was always aware that it's not common, because Germany was the aggressor back in the Second World War, that Germany invaded France, and that the French are very proud people, which is fairly good. But he never wanted to do any harm. He never wanted to provocate anybody. It was just about letting people know that here died other people, other people's fathers died as well. And it wasn't in the combat, it wasn't in the field. It was by putting them on a wall and shooting them, just shooting them for apparently revenge, or I don't know why. But they did that, and it was just an idea of how to let the people know that war is not a good thing at all. And so therefore he was very disappointed, but in the end he was realistic enough to know that it's okay, because one thing stood out. In the 26 years of his research, he used 26 years of his whole life to find out what happened to his father. He met people from the past. He met other witnesses. He met people who were able to flee out of the situation. He met sons of people who were on the other side, so French people. He met sons of the former mayor of Coussay-les-Bois. He met Albert Froger, a news editor at the Nouvelle République in Châtellerault, who became his friend. And he said it was worth all the hustle because he met so many nice people. He made so many friendships with French people. Some of them who agreed with him, some of them who didn't agree with him. But he said, well, there are lots of people who he met that are so nice people. And I have to say, I have this book here. And Monsieur Albert Froger, the former chef editor of this newspaper, he was talking to my dad and calling him his brother. And I think that was the most important thing for him. And that some people agreed with him who even had been who were members of the Marquise, called the group Le Chouan, who sent my dad an email and said, well, I really envy what you are doing. And I think that was the most important thing to him, that there were people out there who saw what he was trying to do, that he didn't want to be offensive against the French or the people from Coussay-les-Bois or anybody, that he just wanted to know what happened to his father and wanted the whole true story to be out there because he was a journalist. It was not about emotions. And yeah, he made friends. And I think that's the best thing about the story, that there are 2 or 3 people from Coussay-les-Bois and the surrounding who call my father a friend or even a brother. And that is what makes it very successful in the end, even though the memorial had been declined by the council, which is okay. I can understand that. And my dad, he understood that. He wasn't happy with it, but he understood it.
Okay. So for you, the tensions between the French and the German are complicated, their relationship, but it's not only anger, it's only friendship?
I don't feel any anger at all. I have no hatred and nothing at all. When I went to school and I had to choose between languages and Latin or French, my dad said, learn French. It's a good France. It's a nice country, nice people. I can't talk French. You could maybe help me out. In the end, I was too bad at French, to be quite honest. But no hate at all. It was always about making friends, thinking back of the time and saying that this was all a lot of, excuse me, bullshit. That was horrible what the Nazis did, that it was horrible, the war and all the wars before. And in the end, people are losing everything, their families, their home, friends, and it's not worth it at all. And I think at some point we have to overcome this. I don't know how, but maybe it helps if we just listen. And I'm pretty sure that if I go to Coussay-les-Bois and talk to some people and let them know about the history of my dad and how he tried to get the information out there, what happened to his father, I think people can relate because they maybe lost their father as well. And then you can talk about it. And in the end, it's no help for all of us if we just say, well, the Germans did that and the French did that. I mean, the future is bright and we have to get there together, hand in hand. And I wish that more people will understand that my dad didn't try to be offensive. He didn't want the proud French to provocate in any sort of kind. He was just trying to find out what happened to his daddy and to remember him. That's all.
Merci Andreas Greuel d'avoir été avec nous. Thank you for being with us and share this story with us. Je rappelle que vous êtes fact-checker au sein du groupe Bertelsmann. Vous pouvez retrouver cette émission en podcast audio et vidéo sur notre site et notre application Radio Sensation. Et si vous voulez commenter cette émission, c'est avec le hashtag de la journée franco-allemande JFA 2021.